All right, coming off a tough loss, I mean, it goes without saying our guys are disappointed, coaches are disappointed. No, we got to play better than that, give them credit. They played, obviously well. We had early this morning, we're watching Good, Bad, Ugly, and, those are the toughest things we go through as coaches and players coming off a loss, and we got to go and revisit one of those, but, we've got to grow from it. We're going to put it in the rearview mirror, but we're not going to forget it, and hopefully we can grow from it. Looking ahead, this is, as we said, when we play conference games, they're Super Bowls. They're Super Bowls for the opponent, they're Super Bowls for us. North Texas I think they're greatly improved. Now, we didn't get to play them last year. Coach Luttrell does a great job. I think they had about 100 snaps on offense. They're really high tempo. They spread the ball around. They got a new quarterback. He's got a big arm. Do a really good job. Physical running game. Their defense is much improved. Always saw it in the special teams and always are tough to play there. So we got to put this one behind us, move forward, learn from our mistakes, and get better. Questions?
What is the challenge of playing a division opponent you haven't seen in 2 years? Because obviously in 2019 it's a completely different team from what y'all saw then. And, how do you keep the confidence of this team, growing coming off a loss like y'all did this weekend? Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, we'll start with that first. I mean, I think, and we said, who is Jacksonville State? That was a game we had to get up for. We knew they were tough. Obviously, they go and find a way to, win at Florida State to Georgia at their place, as talented as they are. And, you just got to go the next game and you got to put that behind you and move forward, but learn from the mistakes. I think for us, the biggest thing is understanding what this conference game means to the opponent, that it is a big deal. It's what we break it down on champs every day. This is what we're working for is conference championships, and we're going to have to be at our very best.
Coach, are you seeing anything out of North Texas this year that maybe is significantly different than you scouted last year that you really kind of have to adjust to?
I think they are if you go back to Baylor, when Baylor was really winning, that's kind of where a lot of the stuff comes from, the wide splits out of the receivers, the really, a good running game, vertically throwing the ball down the field. So offensively, high tempo, a lot of tempo plays. So they're, offensively they're good. Where they've made the biggest improvement already is defensively. I think they've had some times where they were good on defense. They probably weren't quite as good maybe as they want to be the last few years, and I see them coming back. They've made a change at the defense coordinator spot, and I know him, and so they're going to be better there, and they're always tough.
Coach, how do you prepare the defense for a high-tempo offense like North Texas this week?
Yeah, good question. I think one of the things we do is, and we've been doing it for years, is we'll put two huddles going at us a lot of times, just as fast as we can go, and that's really the only way you can simulate in practice. You got those two huddles coming at you, and your guys are they're waiting for it. But I mean, it's tough. I don't care how much you do it. They move fast, and they're going to spread you horizontally. I mean, if you look at their splits with their receivers, they'll be sitting out there on the bottom of the numbers. And so that really opens up running lanes. And then, now you got a quarterback that can make that throw, and they do. They got to transfer in from North Carolina, big arm. He can run. So, it's going to be a big challenge. And, last year, if you go back and look statistically, last year, same OC, they were one of the top in the country in a number of categories.
Coach, forgive me. Obviously, showed up late. That's my bad. But we were talking about the Jacksonville State. Is it true that, I was thinking about this coming over here, really every game can be anything? You saw the game that happened last night. Is that kind of your message to the team, that it doesn't matter who you're playing? Because I was trying to do the math, driving back. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
If you guys beat them, then it's really just any game. Anything can happen.
It really is. And, it's matchups. It's injuries. It's you had this guy out and then you get this guy back. It's a mindset of your players. And I think the thing for me that's disappointing is things that look like you didn't work on, or our guys didn't work hard, or they didn't prepare. That's not the case. It's just sometimes things happen based on matchups or whatever. It's just what it is. And so each game has a life of its own. I talked to our guys this morning about history. And y'all have heard me talk about history before. In our game, this is a big game. Last week I'll never forget. And I can go back to losses and talk about those things. I do think those are the things that drive me and motivate us to be better. That's why we come in and look at that film in the morning, on Monday morning. I mean, we were all here till whatever time we left, 11 o'clock plus as a staff. and then you're back in here at 7 a.m. watching a good, bad, ugly. That's hard. It's hard on the players. It's hard on us. But it's the point of, this is what you got to live with. And I think that's the thing. We got to put that one behind us, good or bad, and move on to the next one.
Coach, how difficult is it not to have a hangover from last week, but to still, like you say, grow from last week?
We've been there. I've had some of these before, and the thing is, you cannot let that game beat you twice. It's bad enough to get beat once, but not let it beat you twice, and that's got to be more than just coach talk. That's really got to be what we do to move forward, and that's where you got to have leadership, And I tell the players all the time, y'all have got to decide what do y'all want to do, and it's all in how we work. It's all in how we prepare. It's all in our mindset, and understanding there's a team right down the road doing the same exact thing, So it's just, how do you handle it?
So Starling go down late against Georgia. What's his status, and do you feel like he got out of that game pretty healthy?
Starling, you good? He's good. So he's back
good.
in the back. Thumbs
and
up.
What was that? Did you give a call to Coach John Grass after that win for him?
Yeah, we texted. He texted me before the game, good luck, and I gave him a text afterwards, and he was obviously proud. So, yeah, I was happy for those guys. But, yeah, we got a few guys bunged up, just like you will in a game like that with just those big bodies they have. And but, for the most part, we came out good.
Could you talk about the good, bad, what is the good, bad, and the ugly when you saw the tape?
Yeah, there's a lot of bad and a lot of ugly, and a little bit of good. Our running game, our backs ran hard. There were some good runs in there against a defense that doesn't give up much. We played the run well. Like I said, I take the blame for the secondary. I should have backed them up, and should have been a little more involved there. So I'm going to take that one this week. I think for us, though, it's those experiences, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I've got to talk about it. I think because it's something you saw. One thing that I did have a problem with, if you notice, we had a lot of offsides, where we jumped. And if you'll go back and look at the movement by the D-line prior to the snap, and I think that's one thing I can't blame our kids on because it looks like we weren't coached. But there was a simulation of a move call right before the snap that, as I told the officials before the game, we would all love to do that. With defensively, I'd love to be able to say, move right before the snap, and you're going to get people to jump. So we had about 7 of those that should have been called. And I talked to our guys about that. And in our league, they're going to call that against the defense. So I can't blame all those on our guys. So there were some things that really weren't their fault. But there was tons of things we got to work on, tons of things to get better. And I'm not taking anything away from Georgia. Obviously that didn't beat us, but 7 of those 4 of them were on 3rd and 4 or less. With a loud move call, and the D lineman moved sideways at the same time. That's pretty hard when he's standing right over the center, simulating a snap count. But anyway, with that said, we got tons to get better on, tons to work on, and I think when you see great athletes and a well-coached team, they're going to expose some of those things, and that's what I think our guys understand. This is what it looks like, and we got to get better.
Hey, dude, Starling. Obviously, I didn't see you back there facing up this way, but what was that moment like when you went down? Obviously, coming back from an injury, were you kind of scared, or did you feel good about yourself at that point?
I was good. It was just took a knee to the ribs, so it really just knocked the wind out of me for a little while. So I was pretty good. I wasn't too worried about that.
And on top of that, just coming off a game like this, how do you and your teammates, especially in that back end, the secondary, pick your confidence back up after that game?
Oh, we just going to practice like we would any other week. Just saying, we just got to get better. We can't give up those kind of yards, so we take the fault for that, and we just hold each other accountable. That's all we can do for that, and then just keep moving on to the next game, try to win first conference game.
Important, the first conference game, is it kind of just turn the page or refresh, maybe a little bit of a new season? Is that what you guys' mentality going forward?
Basically, yes. It's just conference game. We gotta win this game there in our region. We want to make sure that we continue to make a statement that we the best team in the conference, and we trying to get to the championship again.
I asked Coach about this too. College football's so crazy. You see what Jacksonville State did, and then how you guys played them. Is it truly each game at a time, and it doesn't matter who you play? You just got to show up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. You just got to show up. Like each play has a life of its own, just like each game does. So you just got to play it one play at a time, and whoever has his day.
What's the challenge of playing a division opponent that you haven't seen in 2 years?
They have players coming back from the COVID year. Another thing is you just haven't seen too much on film of them. They probably run different things. You just got to go out there and get a feel for them, watch as much film as we can to know what's going on, and just take it one play at a time.
How difficult is that, Starling? You know, like you said, going into a game, not really knowing what they are going to do. Do you just play with use your instincts during that time?
When you get out there on the field, most of it is instincts, but sometimes you can go off what you do see, different lineups and different setups, how they line up. It can tell you something about the play, or just how they come off the ball. You can just know, like you said, it's instincts on there.
I was talking to Coach Clark. These guys ran 100 plays in the last game. As a defensive player, how do you guys prepare for that fast-paced offense?
Oh, we just got to make sure we run during practice, during the week, to get our body in shape, ready to run vertical routes, and then one receiver can run a vertical route and bring a new one in, and the cornerback has to stay on the field. We just got to make sure that we stay in shape, ready for the up-tempo, and try to slow the offense down as much as we can.
Do you feel like you guys maybe have been exposed a little bit from Saturday, or just Georgia being Georgia?
No, I don't think we've been exposed. I honestly don't feel like we didn't play up to our potential. We kind of played down, but I feel like we were better than what we showed on Saturday.
Third straight game away from home. How's the team feeling? And how forward are y'all looking to actually getting back home here in a couple of weeks?
A lot of away games. It can be difficult not having the home crowd and the home field advantage, but we have each other, and that's all we need most of the time, because we the ones that's gonna be on the field. We don't too much worry about the outside crowd.
So how frustrating was it this past week with them shifting, just like Coach Clark had alluded to, that sometimes that may be called, sometimes it may not, and how that affected the offensive line this past week?
It was very frustrating, but at the same time, I got to lock in. They prepared us for it. We worked on it all week. We knew they were going to do it. We knew there was a chance they wouldn't call it. Just got to lock in.
Is it refreshing to kind of come into conference play now? Is it kind of like a new book for you guys? Tell me a little bit about the mindset.
To me, it's really not a new book. I mean, every game important to us. We don't like to lose, whether it's Georgia, whether it's worst team in football history. We want to win each and every game.
Despite the loss, there were some positives as far as the offensive line. Y'all were able to run the ball pretty well against Georgia. You allowed 3 sacks, whereas Clemson allowed 7. How much confidence do you get from a game like that versus, how much does it humble you as well?
The confidence is always there, but at the same time, we got to work on getting better. We don't want to allow no sacks. We always want to run the ball. We always want to be able to hold up for Tyler, whoever back there, so he can get the ball down the field.
I know you guys have talked about it a little bit. You set a goal not to just score a certain amount of points, but you're looking forward to trying to score more than you did last week?
Yes, sir. Plenty.